Hello and welcome back to my channel if this is your first time here. Hi, I'm Cassidy. If it's not, thanks for always tuning into my videos. Today we are doing my July wrap-up. Welcome to the last wrap-up you'll see on my channel, I think. Okay, I recently put a poll up and asked you guys if you preferred wrap-ups or recent reads, and I think I will be moving to the recent read mentality, which is essentially the goal is that every time I read approximately 5 books, you will be told about them. I think this will also help me be able to do some secret vlogs or something like that, because I can just skip those in the recent reads and put them in later recent reads instead of just being like, here's everything I read this month and trying to rush through my vlogs so that I don't have to leave those out of those months, if that makes sense. So I think this will be the last wrap-up on my channel, but we'll move to recent reads, which is essentially what I did in June, and you saw like an every 10-day update, which I really liked. But this is everything I read in July, which is not a lot. I think July is my worst reading month in terms of page count, but in terms of actual books, I read a lot of books that I really liked. I guess not even page count, because I DNF'd a lot of books this month, but the books I finished, I really enjoyed. So I only finished 4 books this month, which is sad because my goal is 6, and so I'm kind of annoyed I didn't hit that goal. But I DNF'd books like crazy this month, and that's weird. That's strange for me, and maybe I need to continue doing it to get better. So the first book I read this month was The Ninth Reign by Jen Williams. This was the Backlist Book Club pick for the month of July. Technically it's June, but the live show wasn't until middle of July, so it's kind of confusing. And I really enjoyed this. I gave it 5 stars. I enjoyed it the most out of all of our co-hosts. There is a whole live discussion that happened on my channel. The first 5 to 10 minutes are spoiler-free, but then we do get into spoiler territory, but you can just see our first impressions that are spoiler-free. And if you decide to read The Ninth Reign after you've seen this wrap-up, the Bitter Twins live show is happening very soon. It is happening August 14th. Exact time to be determined, but it normally happens between 10 a.m. to noon my time. And it will be on Beck's channel, Bewitched Beck's this time, not on my channel. And if you need updates, Backlist Book Club on Twitter will be linked down below, and you can find all the updates. So The Ninth Reign blew me out of the water. It is a genre-bending fantasy. We follow this world where it has kind of been destroyed. It's like a poisonous ecology. It's a weird ecology. It does count for an R fantasy prompt, I would like to say, if you're all doing R fantasy bingo with me this year. And essentially, every couple years, there is this like reign of aliens. They call them the first reign, the second reign, the third reign. You can kind of understand the title now. In the last battle between the aliens and the vampire-like creatures, something happened and the tree god of the vampires destroyed the aliens enough that they haven't come back in a long time. But we've also not seen the tree god. So there's this whole big mystery. And something happens and the Ninth Reign comes and the aliens start to reign again. The aliens just come to like devour the entire planet, to destroy it all. And you just, like, who's there to save the day? Because the vampires have kind of gone out of extinction. They're dying off. There's barely anyone left. And so the humans are all just like, help me, but no one's gonna help them. And yeah, I don't know. I really, really enjoyed this. It is a slow burn fantasy. I think that I really enjoyed the world that happened in here. I personally really enjoyed the characters too. It is a expansive cast, and there's a lot of different unique beings. We have a vampire-like creature. They're pretty much vampires, but they're slightly different. Like, the way it's done in the book is really, really cool. We have our scientist who is going to just explore these alien relics and kind of make sense of it all. We have our Fell Witch, who is stuck in prison for being born the way she is, and because Fell Witches are bad, blah, blah, blah. She's really cool. I really liked her. And then we have, like, all these other characters that I can't really say that, like, have something to do with it. All, like, interlocks at the end. I just really, really enjoyed this. It is a fantasy book, but very, very big sci-fi twist in terms of, like, the word alien being thrown around, like these alien invaders and this like poison and so many cool things. Like, I can't explain how cool I felt this book was, and I highly suggest picking it up, especially if you like those genre-bending fantasies. yeah, I really enjoyed it. I don't really know what to say. I feel like this synopsis was really confusing. I really enjoyed all, like, learning about the world, learning behind the science, and, like, trying to piece together what happened, because they don't really tell you what happened at the beginning, and you're kind of, like, figuring it all out. It's so good, so interesting, and so unique to anything else I've read in the fantasy genre. Definitely pick it up. After that, I went on vacation and I read My Lovely Wife by Samantha Downing. I buddy read this with my friend Destiny, and this one let me down. It had a lot of potential. It ended up being a 3-star read. My Lovely Wife is about a woman and a man who fell in love, they had kids, and then they started murdering people to, like, up their spice level and their eggplant drive. And that's all I can really tell you, but I feel like that doesn't really sum up this book. It is a domestic thriller through and through, and I'm not a big domestic thriller person, so I probably should have known picking this up that it wouldn't have been, like, exactly for me, but it had so much potential. I really enjoyed the, like, creepiness and the, like, figuring everything out. Like, if you saw my vlog, I really started to, like, put things together, and I felt like things were like, oh, this is connected to this and this is connected to this, and I really enjoyed that about this. Like, it's one of those books that's really good if you're buddy reading. Like, I would 100% suggest this as a book club pick or, like, a buddy read pick, just because I think that there's those small little things that you can piece together and you can kind of be like, do you think this is happening? I think this is happening. And that's what me and Destiny did, and we both really enjoyed it for that reason. But the book has a lot of meandering. It's a lot about what happens in the couple's life, what's happening with the kids, and, like, kind of trying to make them feel more normal since they're going out and murdering people. And I just really didn't enjoy that part of the novel. I just got bored of all of that, which is kind of the case in domestic thrillers. I don't enjoy the everyday life stuff. I'm really just there for the thrilling aspects. And I did feel like the ending was just really let down in terms of it was just, like, very anticlimactic for me. I felt like I got this really long build up just to have this short ending. My biggest complaint about this book is that I wish it was shorter. Which, if you had taken out that meandering, it would have been shorter. Just felt like a really, really, really long setup just for, like, things to go bang, 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 and just to end. And there was that. I have a couple little questions that were left unsatisfied for me, but I do really enjoy that in the back of this book there is a whole little reader's guide with questions and little thoughts about the book and all of that kind of get you thinking. I do think it's a book that really gets you thinking about everything, and the very last line of this book was really, really intriguing. It is a book that I would recommend to people who like domestic thrillers, but if you don't really like domestic thrillers, maybe stay away. But at the same time, if you're looking for a really good buddy reading book, yes. So that was, like, my mediocre read of the month, and then we go on to Ashes of the Sun by Django Wexler and Blood of the Chosen by Django Wexler, book 1 and 2 of the Burning Blade and Silver Eye series. I binged these. It felt really good to just throw my TBR away and binge these. Like, I can't lie. It felt really good. I already have a whole video on why you should read this series. I will link it down below because everyone should read this series because it's incredible, it's unique, and amazing. But I will go over why I loved these so much. They both got 4 stars from me, a solid 4 stars. And they will, I think, with the third one, even though none of these got 5 stars, it has a potential to be a favorite series of mine just because of how unique it is in terms of fantasy. It's another genre-bending fantasy, which apparently they're doing really well for me. This is another, like, fantasy with sci-fi elements and a little bit of horror. If you know any other genre-bending fantasies, please link them down below. Apparently I'm really enjoying them, so I would like to read more of them. Ashes of the Sun follows our siblings. We have a brother and a sister who get torn apart when they're young. The sister then goes to work for the Empire, and the brother ends up working to destroy the Empire. And that is, like, the basic premise of the book, but it turns into so much more than that, and the way it's written is so amazing and so cool. I really enjoyed the writing style in this. I found it very accessible. I will probably put this book as new adult. It's not quite YA, but it's written as in that accessible way a YA book is, but it does have adult themes and adult tones to it. But I do think that it runs to a younger audience versus, like, adult. But even though it runs younger, please read it. Our protagonists are quite young. I want to say they're 20 to 25-ish, maybe 27, pushing it. And pretty much all of our crew, like all of our characters, are around that age. We don't have a lot of characters who are older, which I think is something me and Rachel talked about. Rachel pointed this out to me, that YA books always have a YA cast. Like, all of their characters tend to be in that range of younger. And then adult books have a wide range of cast. You can have 12-year-old protagonists, but there will also be 30-year-olds and 40-year-olds that are prominent in the series and in the book. And I thought that was very interesting, and I think that really holds up to most stories we know. This one does have a younger cast. It is, as I said, probably between 20s to 30s, all of the cast in it the entire time. I think that accessible writing is why this book is so good, because it is a complex magic system. It is a magic system inspired by Star Wars. We essentially have lightsabers. We have these two magic systems in this. So we have the Chosen and the ghouls, who fought long ago but have now wiped each other out. There was a plague that wiped the Chosen out, and the Chosen also wiped the ghouls out. So now we just have the humans that can use the remnants of this magic. So we have the Order, which is filled with people who can use Dyat, which is the magic of the Chosen. So these people have Chosen blood in their lines sprinkled into it, essentially. And Dyat is used as like a lightsaber. You have a Hacken, which is like a belt, and they touch their Hacken and then they get like a blade. But all of their blades, unlike lightsabers, are elemental, and they all have different elements. So our protagonist has a fire blade, and she can do cool things with like fire bombs and like all this other stuff. There's a character who has like a wind blade, and so like everything is like perfectly sliced, like insane. And we have a thunder and lightning blade. Like, the elemental blades are really cool. But the magic system is really heavily inspired by Star Wars. And then we have the ghoul magic, which is a lot more tech. The ghouls use a lot of, like, technology, and people who use that are essentially hunted down by the Order. Yeah, the magic system is really, really unique and really cool, but the base of our story are the siblings and the found family around the siblings. Both of our characters have a small group of people around them, and you watch both of our characters go on very similar journeys and very similar arcs that constantly mirror each other. They compare and contrast each other at all times, and I just really, really enjoyed the way that was done, and I think it was just so well written for that reason. And I can't tell you enough to read this series. I loved both of these. Although I do think this book had a little bit of middle book syndrome, it's incredible. I do think the ending was rushed in this book, and I had some complaints, which is why they didn't get to 5 stars. There's a couple plot devices that I don't love in fantasy books, which made it get 4 instead of 5, but overall, I thought this was an incredible series, and I cannot wait for the last one. If you like cool magic system, if you like a really good cast of characters and a found family that you can really root behind and love, 100% suggest these. And I thought the plot was pretty intriguing too. So yeah, definitely read these. So yeah, I had a 5-star, 2 solid 4 stars, and like a 3-star. No 2 stars, no 1 stars. Like, who is Cassidy? It's because I DNF'd all of those 2 and 1 stars. The first book I DNF'd this month was The Demon King by Cinda Williams China. This was my Cup of Chaos pick, but with Cup of Chaos, I am allowed to DNF if I don't like them. I got 60% into this book, and it was just mediocre. It was just a YA fantasy. I didn't hate it. I definitely think that if you are a younger reader looking to get into high epic fantasy, it is one that I probably would suggest. It is a really cool and expansive world. It just was a little too YA for me, and I didn't enjoy where it was going. If I had continued the book, I actually think it would have gotten a 3-star. There was nothing wrong with it, but I just didn't love it, and I was in a mood this month where I only wanted to read books that I was gonna love, so I was throwing away books that I did not think I was gonna love, left, right, and center. You know, sometimes I probably would have pushed my way through and read it, but at the end of the day, too, I'm not the target audience, and it wasn't worth continuing. Everyone in my Discord, because it ended up being the buddy read for my Patreon as well, everyone in the Discord kind of agreed it was just like an okay book. Like, there was nothing great and special about it. We didn't hate it, we didn't love it, and so I'm really happy with my choice to DNF it because I wouldn't have continued the series. It was nothing amazing, and if you've watched the SBFBO vlog, you'll know I DNF'd the 7th Caden and the Fangs of War. I'm not going to go over why I DNF'd them here because I do have the SBFBO vlog for you to watch. This was just a bunch of archetypes that I didn't really enjoy, but I highly suggest you read it. Fangs of War was a character-driven story that I couldn't enjoy the characters for, essentially. So I DNF'd both of them, and I actually think both of these would have been 3 stars if I continued. Both were decent books, they were well written, just not books for me. So I DNF'd. And then I DNF'd one other book this month, but you don't get to know because it's for a secret vlog. But just to let you know, I was in a DNFing spree. And in terms of Questathon, I did pass my quest. I know it doesn't seem like it because I only read 4 books, but I checked with Sahar, and Sahar said if I read over 50%, I could count DNFs, and I read about 60% of the Demon King, and I read 50% of the Fangs of War before DNFing. I gave them both a solid chance, so I counted those for the last parts of my quest. And so I passed the quest, and I got Team Wizards to the final. At the time of filming this, I have no idea who the winners is, but I just wanted to let every one of you know that I'm so proud of you. If you were on Team Wizards, thank you for joining me. And if you were joined another team, thank you also for joining. It was a great month. Thank you, Sahar, for hosting it. I was going to tell you what I used each thing for, but at this point in time, I can't remember off the top of my head. It feels like a lot of work to go look for it. But again, thank you so much to Sahar for asking me to be part of this readathon, for all our other lovely co-hosts for co-hosting and picking up my slack, because I had a really busy month, which is why I also read less, but I also wasn't present enough. I did not do a lot of sprints this month. I hung out in my Discord as much as possible for Patreon, but it's been a busy month. I'm busy in the summers. So yeah, just thank you to everyone who continues to support me and watches my videos. Thank you to everyone. Yeah, I'm repeating myself over and over again. Just shut up, Cassidy. Anyways, if you made it all the way to the end of this video and you'd like to leave me an emoji just to say you were here, leave me a wizard emoji because Team Wizard is superior. Actually, you can just leave me any emoji for the team that you were on, but like, I prefer a wizard emoji. And if you'd like to connect with me on other platforms, my Bookstagram, my Book Twitter, my Goodreads, and my Patreon are all linked in the description bar below. Thank you so much. Have an absolutely amazing day.